Hey guys, and welcome to the Family Fudge. Today I have really tasty lunch ideas to share with you. These lunch ideas were sent to me by some of my awesome subscribers. I think it is super interesting to see all the different things people enjoy for lunch. So if you're looking for some fun lunch ideas, stay tuned. Okay guys, I'm kicking things off with a lunch idea sent in by Kiara from Michigan. And you guys, I picked out her lunch idea because her main course sounds super interesting. It's something that she says she gets at her school, and it's called a flivver. So to make this flivver, I'm going to start with a basic flour tortilla. To this, I'm going to add a layer of shredded lettuce, followed by a good amount of cheddar cheese. Next, I'm going to top this with chicken strips. These are store-bought, already made, ready to go chicken strips. Then you guys, I'm going to top it all off with my kids' favorite condiment, which would be ranch dressing. I want to have a good amount of this on here so it's nice and saucy, but I don't want it to be so saucy that it just spills out everywhere. So now basically all I have to do is wrap this up like a burrito and it's good to go. Okay guys, now you'll have to let me know in the comments down below if you've ever made something like this or tried something like this. Use the hashtag flivver if you have. And from now on, every time I make this type of wrap, I'm going to be calling it a flivver too. So now that the main course is done, I'm going to move on to Kiara's fruit. She requested grapes, so I'm going to do a combination of both red and green. Next, I'm going to add in some carrots. I just went ahead and cut these into sort of a crinkle cut French fry shape. Next, I'm going to be adding in some pretzels. That's what she picked out for her snack. And then that brings us to the treat. For Kiara's lunch today, she requested some good old chocolate chip cookies. And I really like these mini ones. They fit so well in a lunchbox. And now to complete Kiara's lunch, I'm just going to be adding in some water. Okay guys, next up I'm going to be making a lunch idea sent in by Isabel. Isabel is from Germany, and you guys, her lunch idea is also meat-free. So if you're looking for a meat-free wrap option, this is a good one. For Isabel's main course, I'm actually going to be making two different wraps. And you guys, both of these sound super interesting and delicious. For the first one, I'm going to take just a regular flour tortilla, and to this I'm going to go ahead and spread on some regular cream cheese. This isn't flavored or anything, although you could use flavored cream cheese and that would be good too. Now at this point, I'm going to be adding on lots of grated carrot. Of course, carrots are super sweet and crunchy. I'm personally a huge fan of fresh carrots, not so much the cooked variety though. Now I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt and pepper on here just to season it up a little bit. And you guys, believe it or not, that's everything in this wrap. I'm just going to go ahead and roll it up and it's good to go. And I could serve it just like it is, but I think it would be really pretty to go ahead and cut it into spirals. Now for the other wrap, again, I'm starting with just a regular flour tortilla, but this time, instead of adding cream cheese, I'm going to be adding some peanut butter. Now personally, I think this would be really good with extra crunchy peanut butter because that's my favorite. But right now in my house, I only have smooth, so I'm just adding some of that. Now at this point, instead of adding grated carrots like I did with the first wrap, I'm adding in some grated apple. This is actually a combination of Granny Smith apples and sweet Gala apples. I love that sweet and tart combination in here. And with this wrap, instead of adding salt and pepper, I'm just gonna sprinkle this with a little bit of cinnamon. Now all I have to do is roll it up. I'll go ahead and slice this as well. And you guys, that's all there is to it. These look so good. So now that the main course is done, I'm going to move on to fruit. She requested grapes, so I'm going to do a combination of both red and green. For Isabel's lunch today, she requested cherry tomatoes. So I'm just going to add a couple of those right in here, with some fun food picks as well. For Isabel's snack, she requested crackers, so I'm just gonna add a few of these ones. And now it's time for the treat. For this lunch, I'm gonna be throwing together some peanut butter balls. Now, these are a little bit different than the ones I made a couple of weeks ago in my plant-based lunches, but they're very similar. Basically, it's the same recipe, except this time, instead of adding chocolate chips, I'm just adding in some dried fruit. So I have craisins and raisins in here. These are so easy and so good. And now lastly, for Isabel's drink, she requested some tea sweetened with honey. You know, Isabel told me she is a teacher and she definitely needs that for her voice. And there you have it, guys. I just love the way this turned out. You guys should definitely give these wraps a try, especially if you're looking for something interesting and new. First up, I have a lunch idea sent in by Rianne from Maui. And I don't know about you guys, but I would love to be in Maui right now. That sounds amazing. So of course, I already have this thermos filled with boiling hot water. And while that's happening, I can prepare the lunch itself. For Rianne's main course, she requested cheeseburger sliders. So to make these, I'm going to start by forming some mini burger patties. Now, even though I'm only going to be putting 2 of these in Rianne's lunch, I am going to make up a whole bunch of them so that I can have leftovers. And then to cook these patties, I'm just going to add them to my little tabletop grill here. And I'm going to cook these until they're no longer pink in the middle and they have some nice grill lines on the outside. So I'm going to take these burger patties straight off the grill and I'm going to get them into the thermos as quickly as I can. Of course, I did dump out the boiling hot water that was inside, so it's nice and preheated. And I'm going to get the lid on as quickly as I can so that I can trap all that heat inside. So now that we have the burger patties done, it's time to add in some buns. And since Rianne is from Hawaii, I thought some Hawaiian rolls would be perfect. And of course, since I loaded 2 burger patties into the thermos, I'm going to be adding in 2 of these Hawaiian rolls into the lunchbox to go with them. And I'm definitely going to make sure to slice them before I add them in. When packing burger sliders for a lunch, I really like to keep all of the ingredients separate. That way, when it becomes lunchtime, the person eating them can build them at that time, so they'll be nice and fresh and not soggy and cold. Now in this back section, I want to go ahead and divide this into 2 sections, and I like to do this using silicone liners. Not only does it keep these foods separate, but it's also going to keep the moisture away from getting onto the bread so it won't get soggy. And basically, I'm just adding some classic burger toppings in here. So I have things like sliced tomatoes, some pickles, and then over on this other side, I have some lettuce and some little squares of cheddar cheese. Now in a separate container, I did go ahead and add a little bit of ketchup and mustard. To save on space, I did go ahead and add both of them into one container because after all, they're going to mix together on the burger anyway. And then you guys, as far as these cheeseburger sliders go, that is everything that I'm going to be packing for those. So that means it's time to move on to Rianne's fruit. For her lunch today, she requested a cantaloupe. So once I have this guy cut in half, I will go ahead and scoop out the seeds. And then one of my favorite ways to serve cantaloupe or just any melon in general is to create melon balls. And I'm just going to put as many in here as I can fit. So moving on to the back section of the lunchbox, I'm going to start by adding a little silicone liner. And in this space, I'm going to add the vegetables. Rianne requested a combination of carrots and peas. So in here I just have some baby carrots, and then instead of adding green peas, I'm adding some sugar snap peas instead. I just love the combination, and so do my kids. Because you guys, even though these are subscriber lunch ideas, these lunches that I'm making usually end up being my kids' lunch or dinner over the weekend. So I definitely keep that in mind when I'm making these lunches. So for Rianne's snack and her treat, I'm going to go ahead and put those in a separate container. This is just a Systema container. I really like those ones as well. So for Rianne's snack, she requested some of these Parmesan flavored goldfish. And you guys, if you've not tried these ones, I definitely recommend them. They are very good. I think they definitely have more of a buttery flavor versus the regular cheese goldfish crackers. And then on the other side, I'm going to be adding in some mini donuts. Now, I'm not quite sure what Rianne's favorite donut flavor is, but I decided to go with these powdered sugar donuts because they looked so cute in this Valentine's Day packaging. And I think 2 or 3 is probably a good amount for this lunch. And now to complete Rianne's lunch, I'm going to be adding in her drink. She requested some pink lemonade, so I'm just going to add this Country Time lemonade bottle right on the side. And there you have it, guys. There's everything in Rianne's lunch. Next up, I'm going to be making Megan's lunch. Megan is from Colorado. Her lunch idea is meat-free, and for her lunch, I'm going to start by heating up some creamy tomato basil soup. Now you guys, Megan let me know that she is a Disney fan, so this recipe for tomato basil soup is actually a copycat recipe from Disneyland itself. And I actually have a separate video on how I make this soup. I'll go ahead and link it down below if you'd like to check it out. But you guys, it is seriously good. Super creamy, super flavorful. I'm basically just going to heat up the soup until it is piping hot, and then I'm going to very carefully add it into my preheated thermos. I'm gonna get that lid on nice and tight, and then to go along with Megan's tomato soup, she also requested a classic grilled cheese, which I think is an excellent combination. Now I'm basically going to make this grilled cheese as you would with any grilled cheese, but to give this some Disney flair, I am gonna go ahead and make it a Mickey-shaped grilled cheese, and I'm also going to be adding 3 different kinds of cheeses in here. So I have cheddar, mozzarella, and provolone. Now you guys, I get asked about grilled cheese sandwiches in lunches all the time and whether they stay hot or not, and you guys know they actually usually don't stay very hot in the lunch, but when you pair a grilled cheese sandwich with some hot tomato soup, it works out really well because you can actually take the grilled cheese and dunk it into your soup. And if you eat it just like that, it really doesn't matter that the grilled cheese doesn't stay warm because the soup will definitely help to reheat it a bit. So now before I add this grilled cheese sandwich into the lunchbox, I am going to go ahead and add a little Mickey Mouse cupcake liner. This little paper liner not only makes the lunchbox look cute, but it will also absorb any extra oils that might be on the outside of the grilled cheese. And then of course we already have the soup ready to go. So at this point I'm ready to move on to some fruit. And for Megan's lunch today, she picked out a triple combination of blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries. So I just sliced up the strawberries and I've added as many of them along with the blueberries and raspberry as I can fit right in this section. Now in this back section of the lunchbox, I'm going to be adding in something that I don't actually remember that I've ever put in a lunch before, but it actually sounds really good. To make this, I'm just starting with some mini sweet bell peppers. I'm going to go ahead and cut those in half lengthwise, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove the insides and the seeds. Then I'm going to fill the center of each pepper with a little bit of cream cheese. Of course, you can do this with any kind of cream cheese you want. I just happen to be using garden vegetable because I think that sounds like a really tasty combination. And then before I add these into the lunchbox, I'm just going to close these peppers back up so that that cheese can stay inside and it hopefully won't get messy in the lunchbox. For Megan's snack today, she requested some goldfish crackers, and of course I'm going with the Mickey Mouse ones since they are perfect for this lunch. And then for Megan's sweet treat, she requested some caramel-filled chocolates. Now I know that Megan's favorite caramel-filled chocolate is called Carmelo, but unfortunately I had a really hard time finding those. So instead I decided to add just a few of these little caramel-filled M&Ms. They fit perfectly in this little Mickey Mouse shaped snack holder, and I think I have just enough space to actually add this into the lunchbox as well. And then lastly, for Megan's drink today, she requested a sparkling blackberry drink. So I'm just going to add 1 can of this right on the side. And there you have it, guys. With a lunch idea sent in by Kaylee. She is 22 years old and is from Canada. Now, of course, we're going to be using the Blue Ellie lunchbox today. And for Kaylee's lunch, I'm going to go ahead and prepare her main course first, which sounds super interesting, you guys. It all starts off with some mac and cheese. Today, I'm going to be using this Annie's brand Deluxe Rich and Creamy Mac and Cheese. Seriously, you guys, if you haven't tried this kind, you definitely should. I have tried a lot of different mac and cheeses, and this is definitely one of my top favorites. Now with this type of mac and cheese, of course, I'm going to cook the noodles, drain the noodles, but then since this is the creamy deluxe version, I don't have to add the milk and the butter and the cheese powder. It's already mixed for me in this little pouch, so I just have to squeeze it on the pasta. And whenever I use this type of mac and cheese, I'm always trying my best to get like every drop of cheese out of this little bag. because with mac and cheese, the more cheese the better. So now I'm going to go ahead and stir this all together and then set it aside. For my next step, I'm going to get out my brand new panini press. I'm super excited about this. I've never actually had one of these before, but I'm super excited. I'm already thinking about all the different kinds of grilled cheese I could make. I actually found this guy on Amazon and surprisingly it wasn't that expensive. But since this is Kaylee's lunch, I'm not going to be making a grilled cheese today. Instead of bread, I'm adding a tortilla. Next, I'm going to add a good amount of the mac and cheese. Now my goal is to get as much mac and cheese in here as possible without filling it too much, because if I do that, then it's likely to just fall out of the tortilla altogether. And since I've never actually made this before, I'm gonna have to just guess and hope that it works out. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle a good amount of shredded cheese right on top. Of course, you can use any cheese that you prefer, but I'm using mozzarella because that's what I have on hand. Not only is this cheese gonna make it more quesadilla-like, but it's also gonna act as sort of a glue because as it melts, it's gonna keep the mac and cheese and the tortilla all stuck together. Now I'm gonna go ahead and top this with my other tortilla and close up the panini press. Now, if you don't have one of these, you could probably just make this quesadilla in a regular pan. So now that this has been in here for about 2 minutes, I think it's just about done. Now to cut this quesadilla, I'm gonna use my handy dandy Mickey pizza cutter. Pizza cutters definitely make cutting quesadillas so much easier. And it looks like it worked. That mac and cheese is definitely staying inside. Guys, let me know in the comments down below if you ever tried mac and cheese inside a quesadilla, because this is a new one for me, but I'm pretty sure my kids will love it. Now it's time to move on to the fruit and veggies. For Kaylee's lunch today, she requested lots of yummy fruits. This includes mangoes, raspberries, and kiwis. Now I'm actually using a golden kiwi today, which is similar in taste, just lighter in color. And she also requested a healthy amount of vegetables, including cucumber. I'll go ahead and slice these nice and thick, and then to make them extra cute, I'm going to cut out the center with my mini star cookie cutter. To go along with this, I'm also going to cut up some red bell pepper and throw in some carrot slices and finally some broccoli. Now so far so good, this is looking awesome. I love all these different colors and shapes. Now Kaylee is actually a fan of ranch, but she also said she really likes to dip her veggies in hummus, so I decided to throw in the hummus. Now for the fruit, I did go ahead and add that to a separate container, and I'll go ahead and add in a little spork, and the next thing I'm going to add is a sweet treat. For Kaylee's lunch today, she requested the good old classic Oreo cookie. So I'm going to add about 4 or 5 of these to our reusable snack bag. These fit perfectly in here, just like that. And then last but not least, for her drink today, she requested either water or iced tea. So I decided to throw in some iced tea in the peach flavor. And there you have it. There's everything in Kaylee's lunch. Okay guys, next up I'm going to be making Elliot's lunch. He is 14 years old and is from Paris. For Elliot's lunch today, I'm using the blue LUNCHBOX, and I've added some space-themed napkins and some picks. For Elliot's main course, I'm going to be making some meat and cheese roll-ups. This is the perfect gluten-free option. Today I'm using a combination of cheddar cheese and mozzarella cheese, and then I'm also using several slices of salami. Now this is actually really easy to do. I've just taken 2 slices of salami, and then I'm actually rolling the cheese stick all the way up inside. And then to make these easier to eat and easier to fit in the lunchbox, I'm gonna go ahead and cut them in half, and then I'm going to add these really awesome space-themed food picks. This definitely makes the lunch look a lot more fun, and it keeps these meat and cheese roll-ups together. They're not gonna fall apart in the lunchbox. Now this is looking awesome already. Now that those are finished, I'm going to move on to some grapes. For Elliot's lunch, he requested a combination of green grapes and red grapes, and he asked for me to cut them in half and then put them on a pick in an alternating pattern. So there we go. These turned out really cute, very creative. For my next step, I'm adding Elliot's veggies. He asked for a combination of both broccoli and cauliflower. I can definitely tell that Elliot loves these different color combinations. Now this actually looks really interesting in the lunchbox because both cauliflower and broccoli look similar, but they're different colors. For Elliot's snack, I'm going to be adding some goldfish crackers, and he requested the colorful one, so I'm just adding a little scoop right in here. Next up, I'm adding some very little sweet treats. Elliot requested the Little Bites chocolate chip muffins. So I'm going to add about 3 in here. That's all that I can fit. And I'll go ahead and add a little pick in there as well, just for fun. And to complete Elliot's lunch, I'm going to be adding a can of Hawaiian Punch. Now for some reason, I could only find this in the canned version, which is totally fine. So I'm just going to add this can in right here. And then that is everything in Elliot's lunch. Next up, I'm going to be making Sylvie's lunch, and Sylvie is from New Hampshire. For Sylvie's lunch today, I'm going with a lot of pastel colors. Now for Sylvie's main course, I'm going to be trying to make something I've never made before. It's called cucumber sushi, but actually you guys, this doesn't involve any raw fish at all. To make this cucumber sushi, the first thing I'm going to do is cut this cucumber into thirds. But I'm not actually going to be using the middle part. I'll go ahead and save that for another lunch. And you guys, as you can see, I didn't chop off the ends of the cucumbers. For right now, I'm leaving them on there. Now, the next thing I'm going to need to do is hollow out these pieces of cucumbers. And for this, I'm using an apple corer. If you don't have one of these, you could probably use a paring knife and a spoon. But the apple corer definitely makes this a lot easier. Now pretty much I'm using the apple core to cut the inside of the cucumber, but then to get that cucumber out, I actually found that it was a lot easier to use the back of a spoon for this part. So now that I have 2 pretty much hollow pieces of cucumber, it's time to start stuffing them. So the first thing I'm going to add in here is some cooked rice. This is cooled down a little bit, so it's not very hot. And basically, I'm going to try to put as much rice in here as I can. And then using a small spatula, I'm going to try to pack that rice down as tightly as I can onto one side of the cucumber, just like this. So as you can see, I still have plenty of room to add other things into my cucumber. Now there's actually a lot of different options when it comes to filling the cucumber. You could add slices of bell pepper, you could add cheese, you could even add some slices of avocado. That would be really good. But for today, I'm going to be adding in some carrots. For this, I'm starting with a whole carrot and basically just going to cut it up into sticks. Then I'm taking these carrot sticks and I'm shoving them down inside the cucumber, and I'm going to try to add in as many as I can so that they're packed nice and tight in there. That way when I cut the cucumber, the stuffing inside shouldn't fall out. Okay guys, now these are looking really good, but now it's time to give it a test. But as you can see, this actually did work. The rice and the carrots are definitely staying inside the cucumber, and it really does look like sushi. I think these turned out pretty awesome. Now to go along with these cucumber sushi rolls, I'm also going to be throwing in a little container of sesame sauce. This is going to go so well with that rice and the cucumbers. So now that the main course is done, it's time to move on to some fruit. For Sylvie's lunch, I'm adding a combination of mangoes and blueberries. And then since there's so many veggies in the main course, I'm actually not going to be adding any more into here, but instead I'm adding a sweet treat. For Sylvie's lunch today, she requested chocolate-covered pomegranates. So I'll go ahead and put some right into here. And for Sylvie's snack today, I'm adding in this Nutella to go. And for her drink, she requested fruit punch. And there you have it, guys. Now let me know in the comments down below if you've ever tried making cucumber sushi. Next up, I'm going to be making Ella's lunch. And for her lunch today, I'm going to be adding in some Avengers decorations. And that's because I know Ella is a huge fan of Iron Man. Now, if you guys have a favorite Avenger, let me know who it is in the comments down below. Personally, Thor used to be my favorite, but nowadays I'm more of a Captain Marvel fan. For Ella's main course, I'm gonna start by making some oatmeal. This is the good old-fashioned oatmeal, but it's also the quick cooking kind too. Now, I know there are so many different delicious topping options when it comes to oatmeal, but for Ella's oatmeal, she requested brown sugar. She also requested a little bit of cinnamon. And then finally, I'm also going to be throwing in some raisins. I'm just going to give this a big stir, and while it's still nice and hot, add it to the lunchbox. So now that our main course is done, it's time to add in some fruit. And for Ella's lunch, I'm going to be adding 3 different kinds. She requested a combination of blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries. I'm going to go ahead and add all of this fruit in this back section here, so it's kind of like a fruit salad. Next, I'm going to be adding in some celery sticks, but instead of adding ranch to go along with these, Ella requested Caesar dressing, so I've just added a little bit to this separate container. For Ella's snack, she requested a combination of rice crackers and cheddar cheese. And for her treat, she requested a cinnamon bun. But you guys, at my store, I couldn't find any cinnamon buns, but I was able to find honey buns, which are kind of similar. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that on the side. And then finally, for her drink, I'm going to recycle my Good to Grow bottle. I went ahead and just put some lemonade in here. And of course, since Ella is a huge fan of Iron Man, I added the Iron Man topper. Now I almost forgot to add in my food picks. I'm just gonna add a few of these Avenger picks right into the fruit section, just to dress them up a bit. And there you have it, there's everything in Ella's lunch. Our next lunch idea was sent in by Sabrina. She is 17 years old and is from California. For Sabrina's lunch today, I'm going to be using the pink LUNCHBOX with this really cute llama napkin. And you guys, Sabrina's lunch is going to be vegetarian. For Sabrina's lunch, I'm going to start by making the main course first, and she requested fettuccine alfredo. And she also told me that I could use whatever kind of pasta I wanted. So I thought it'd be really fun to use this colorful bow tie pasta. Now I've actually had this in my pantry for quite a while and I can't remember where I found it, but it does look really cool and I think it will be awesome in this lunch. So once my pasta is cooked and drained, I'm going to go ahead and add in some Alfredo sauce as well. Now I could make this from scratch, but it's so much faster and easier to use this kind. So now that I have this nice and hot, I can go ahead and add it into the lunchbox. And I have to say, this is smelling so good. Next up, I'm going to add in Sabrina's fruit. And for her lunch, she requested a combination of raspberries and mandarin oranges. But she specifically asked for the kind that come in the can instead of the fresh ones. Next, I'm going to add in some cucumber sticks with some ranch for dipping. And in this last little section here, I'm going to be adding in Sabrina's treat, actually to go along with her snack, which is an applesauce cup. Sabrina says it is super delicious to actually dip graham crackers in the applesauce and eat it just like that. Now to me, that actually sounds really good, almost like an apple pie sort of combination. Now for Sabrina's drink, I'm going to add in some chocolate milk. And then I'm going to finish this lunch off with just a few little decorations. And now that brings us to Amanda's lunch. She is 16 years old and is from the US. Now for her lunch today, I'm going with a Monsters Inc. theme. Now if you've never seen the Monsters Inc. movie before, you definitely should check it out. It is so cute. And the main characters are Mike Wazowski, that's the green guy, and the other monster's name is Sully, which is Amanda's favorite. Now for Amanda's lunch, I think I'll start with the main course first. The first thing I'm going to do is use my egg slicer. I'm going to go ahead and chop up 2 hard-boiled eggs. I like to set the egg in my egg slicer and chop it going one direction. Then I'll actually pick up that egg, turn it the other direction, and cut it one more time. That way I'm left with nice little pieces of egg for this egg salad. Next, I'm going to be adding a little bit of mayo, followed by some salt and some pepper. And then I'm not quite sure how Amanda likes her egg salad. I know there's lots of different ways to make egg salad, but I went ahead and just added a little bit of mustard as well, and then I mashed and mixed it all up. Now to build this sandwich, I'm going to start with 2 pieces of wheat bread, and then I'm going to cut this bread into egg shapes. Next, I'm going to fill the sandwich with that delicious egg salad mixture. And then of course, this would be awesome just as is, but I have a few more things I want to add. On the top of the sandwich, I'm going to decorate it with 1 big slice of egg. Then I'm going to take 2 little pieces of crust. This came from the bread that I cut out. I saved that. And I'm going to stick it right into the sides of the sandwich. Next, on top of the egg slice, I'm adding a slice of olive. And then for the little mouth, I'm using a sugar snap pea pod that I've cut in half. So check it out, you guys. This is my version of a Mike Wazowski sandwich. I think it turned out really cute. Now to go along with this, I'm also adding in some pineapple. I know that Amanda loves pineapple, and I don't actually have any Monsters Inc. food picks, so instead I'll go ahead and add this little pineapple topper. I think that works really well with pineapple chunks, of course. And then in this back section, I'm going to be adding lots of sugar snap peas. To go along with these peas, I'm also throwing in a container of ranch for dipping. And then for Amanda's sweet treat, something really special. She requested jelly beans, but specifically she asked for the Dr. Pepper flavored ones. So this bag actually has 40 different flavors in there, and I know that there's Dr. Pepper ones in there, so I'm going to try to pick those out, as many as I can. Now guys, let me know in the comments down below what your favorite flavor of jelly bean is. Personally, I'm a huge fan of the buttered popcorn flavor. I know that sounds really weird, but it's actually really good. Definitely my favorite. And then you guys, the very last thing I'm adding into Amanda's lunch is some Country Time pink lemonade. And I did go ahead and recycle this Good to Go bottle with the Sully topper on top. Okay guys, now let me know in the comments down below, out of all of the lunches I made this week, which one was your favorite? Now if you'd like to check out the lunches I make for my kids to take to school, you can click on the link right here. And if you're looking for some easy dinner ideas, you can click on the link right there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.